The way to a quizzer's mind is through their stomach. Or so we would be led to believe by the 6 contestants in today's quiz. Friends, this is the 9th quiz in the ProQuizzin League Battle of the Youth, and this one is on food and beverages. Rest assured, this is going to be the most difficult of all the quizzes for us to call and you to watch. We'll be salivating and our tummies will be rumbling. No matter. Welcome from Dhruv Mukherjee and Shamunai Banerjee once again.
Hello Dhruv, glad to be back again. Well, some familiar foods, some unfamiliar foods, some familiar stories, some not so well-known stories, all going to be put together in this particular quiz, the food and beverages quiz. This is the game 9 of the ProQuizzin League Battle of the Youth. We are all set to pass to the Pavlov's test in the quiz. But before that, Dhruv, please let us take a look at the league table standing after 2 quarters of PQL battle.
All right, as we enter the business end of the competition, we find the Bengaluru Aces still in the lead, but just behind them, the Kolkata Wizards, 35 versus 33 points. You've got the Geeks on 28, the Brainiacs on 27, the Erudites on 26, and the Intellects on 25. Just 1 point separating the bottom 4 teams. One gets the feeling that despite Bengaluru's comfortable lead for the last 2-3 episodes, something's got to give any moment. Well, without further ado, let's see the 6 people who are going to be hungry and thirsty to do well in today's quiz and take home honors. All right, representing the Ahmedabad Intellects, Abhimanyu Bharade, who returned. Also returning, Piyush Kedia to represent the Bengaluru Aces. Returning as well, Ananya Upadhyay for the Mumbai Geeks. Ankur Ghosh also returns for the Delhi Brainiacs. The Kolkata Wizards will be represented by a new face in the competition at this point. Toyada Pattanaik will be the captain, and of course they're the home team, as I said. And the Chennai Erudites will be represented by Shobhit Ghosh. All right, let's take a look at the seating order for today. But before that, a quick look at the rules of round 1, Shamunai.
Once again, round 1 is knives out. Each team gets 1 direct question, 3 clues per question, plus 150, plus 100, plus 50, respectively in these 3 clues. Well, this particular round, as usual, doesn't pass, but you can always have a double card at your disposal. So even if you are, say, get it right in the second clue and double it correctly, you can get a potential 200 points. So that can get you an early lead in the quiz. So without further ado, let's take a look at the order in which this quiz is supposed to go.
All right, we've got some heavyweights right up at the beginning. Abhimanyu Bharade, Piyush Kedia, Ananya Upadhyay. This is the order in which it's going to run. The home team, the Wizards, will go 5th. All right, let's take a look at question 1. In the first round, this one goes to the Ahmedabad Intellects. Okay, a Hawaiian fast food brand. I was first briefly seen in the hands of one Mr. Blonde in 1992.
Big Kahuna.
He says Big Kahuna, and that's 150 points straight off the bat by the Intellects. Fantastic answer there. No better way to get off the mark. No time wasted, no second clue needed, Shamunai, but what would that have been?
Well, the second clue would have been, I got my big break 2 years later in a non-linear Palm or winner. That's a reference to Pulp Fiction. Served with fries, Sprite, and biblical biscuits, and the cornerstone of the American breakfast. So that was the 3 clues. Slight appreciation from Piyush Kedia of Bengaluru Aces. Now he's direct.
Okay. I began my journey in 1924 when 2 Udupi brothers started a small restaurant serving coffee and idlis.
I'll go with Bawali Tiffin Room.
And there would have been carnage if the Bengaluru Aces representative would have missed that. This is, of course, NTR, Mobile Tiffin Rooms. Superb answer there. He also gets 150 points.
Well, the 2 clues for Kedia was in 1951, after a tour of Europe, they upped their restaurateur quotients and named me after a Bengaluru locality, that is Mawali. I'm best known for creating Rava idli during World War II. So that was the 3 clues for Piyush Kedia. Now we move to Mumbai Geeks. So 2 150 points straight off the bat. Yeah. So let's see if Mumbai Geeks can repeat the same. Here's the first clue for Ananya Upadhyay on the screen now.
Hailing from Malihabad, I am deep yellow to orange in color and my pulp has little fiber.
Is this Kesari mango?
Ananya Sneha goes for Kesri Mango. That's incorrect. So for 100 points, I got GI status in 2010 when the efforts of Padma Shri Kalim Ullah Khan bore fruit. She'd want to crack it now for 100 points.
The third clue.
Now she needs the third clue for 50 points. According to the Mango Man of India, I derive my name from a village near Kakori and not an annual festival.
The sherry mango.
And that's the only clue she needed to seal it. This is, of course, the sherry mango, Shamanai. Well, she gets off the mark, but misses the 150.
Yeah, nonetheless, well, a slow start, but a steady start, most importantly. We move to the right side of the quiz now. So, Ankur Ghosh from the Delhi Brainiacs, here's his first.
A buttery tasting legume when cooked, I am named after a capital city.
Next clue.
A good source of fiber, protein, magnesium, and iron. I have white seeds and a green pod. This for 100 points.
You can literally visualize it. Well, Ankur thinking hard.
Next clue.
Next clue. A staple produce for the Incans. I have been grown in Peru for the past 9,000 years.
Rajma chawal.
Rajma chawal is wrong. It's a little more than that. Let's take a look at the answer. Lima or lima beans. The other teams had a smile on their faces. They had worked it out. Unfortunately, 0 in this one for Ankur. Early days, lots and lots of time to come back strong. For now, let's move to the home team, to the Pattanayak and the Kolkata Wizards. First clue coming up on screen for them now. I am located just 97 steps from an apartment belonging to an actor and a statistical analyst and data configurator. Delighted smiles from the intellects and the aces.
Next hint.
100 points now, the Wizards. My name is a pun on a popular New York landmark. Now, the geeks join the smiling club.
Big Apple.
It's not the Big Apple, well, at least that's a food connect. Marked by an orange couch, a group of friends visit me to gather Gab and grab a caffeine fix. Good to see Gab making it to a quiz.
McCleary's Cafe or something.
Not McCleary's. He's going to kick himself if he's at all a fan. I'm sure our viewers have got this. This is, of course, Central Perk from the Friends. Agonizing, agonizing. Must be feeling terrible, but that's the way it happens. Sometimes the most obvious answers are missed. All right, the last question of the first round, this for the erudites. I changed my logo for the first time to pay tribute to India's unsung COVID heroes through the Aam Nahi Khas Ho Tum initiative.
A lovely pun straight away. Let's see if Shokti can catch on it.
We move to the second clue. Bordering on double entendres, I have, at various points in history, used slogans like we've got the juice in the 80s and more recently, itna thick kaise in India.
Rasna.
Not Rasna. We move to the third clue, a small portion of PepsiCo's portfolio. I am endorsed by Katrina Kaif.
Slice.
And he's not going to miss that clue. Slice indeed it is. Katrina Kaif, 50 points to the erudites, and we're done with the first round.
Absolutely. PepsiCo Slice, although there was a story that they might not be in the portfolio later on, who knows? Well, we have come to the end of the first round. Let's take a look at the scores group.
All right, two teams yet to get off the mark. The home team, the Wizards and the Brainiacs on 0. 50 for the geeks and the erudites, and right at the top, you have the intellects and the aces going head to head with 150 each. You can just tell that this particular episode has all the makings of a fierce competition. Only time will tell. All right, Shamana, I think we're ready for the second round of toss. Let's take a look at that.
The second round where the thali passes. So lock and load, 6 questions clockwise, 1 direct for each team. It's a differential passing. So for a direct question, you can get a plus 100, and more importantly, if you're right on your direct, you can stop other teams from poaching your answer. But nonetheless, per pass, This is 150, 200, 250, 300, and potentially 350 points up for grab by a single team in a single question. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first question of this round, which will be direct to Abhimanyu Bharade of the Ahmedabad Intellects.
Originally, which word was used to describe someone with whom you shared a meal? More specifically, bread. Straightforward question.
So bread is panem or pan, that is. So companion comes from that.
He knows his etymology. Companion. That's an excellent answer, Shamana. He gave the root of the word as well to explain.
Yeah, beautifully worked out. True hallmark of a great quizzer. With that, we come to Bengaluru Aces, the second question of this round, which will direct to Piyush Kedia.
All right, he was in the habit of importing giant cheeses for his shop's Christmas displays that were so large that on one occasion, they had to be hauled to the shop through the streets by an elephant. Despite having started as an entrepreneurial grocer, who was this gentleman who became synonymous with the world of beverages in the coming years? So a bit of a long question.
Piyush, of course, very well known for snatching out answers of thin air.
I'll guess Jack Daniels.
Okay, it's not Jack Daniels, but he set the tone for the guesses, I guess. Most of the geeks.
I'm not sure. I'll say Nilgiris.
It's not the Nilgiris. Passes to Uncle Ghosh and the Brainiac.
Is this Dr. Pepper?
Not Dr. Pepper. Passes to the Wizards.
Is this Bethel Malia?
Not Vittal Malia. Passes to the Erudites.
Captain Morgan.
Not Captain Morgan. Now with the intellects for 350.
Weird guess. Vijay Mallya.
Not Vijay Mallya. So it's clear where the minds and hearts of most of these young quizzers lie.
Pemberton.
The answer is, of course, Thomas.
Okay, of course.
No.
Ananya came somewhat close. She at least said Nilgiri, so she was in the right zone, but wrong brand name. Shravan, these are under 23, but I'm guessing they're above 21, right? With all these guesses we're getting.
Yeah, well, from the guesses, I mean, loyal customers, it seems.
All right, third question now, direct for the geeks. In the most common form, it's minced meat marinated with spices and aromatics that is fried till it loses moisture, then cooked using the dum technique. This is how it gets the more popular name of ghutwa kebab. Ghutwa means pulverized meat. In a more parliamentarian form, it gets its name from the fact that it was born of the need to serve food to large congregations of people. What dish is this?
Well, again, clues yellow, but let's see if Anya can catch on to that. This is a food quiz. You have a kebab. How can you miss this?
Is she guessing or is she fighting the urge?
I'll say this is Langda kebab or Langar kebab.
Langar kebab, a creative answer, but not the right one. Passes to the next hungry contestant.
Is Galauti kebab?
Not Galauti. Passes to the Wizards. Chance to open their account.
Is this something called the Bheed kebab or something? Bheed.
Not Bheed. Passes to the Erudites.
This is Patthar Ka Ghost.
That is at least a thing, Patthar Ka Gosht, but not this
I
one.
see Parliament, so I'll say Sansad kebab, if that's a thing.
Sansad kebab. Well,
Something like Jamati kebab or Jamaat kebab.
not Jamati kebab. We've had some very creative answers. Nobody's hit it as yet. Parliamentarian, of course, was the key word, wasn't it, Shaman?
Yeah, indeed. Well, Abhimanyu was close, trying to think about Sansad, but this is slightly out of India, if we may say, but also used in Indian context in terms of large congregations. This is the Majlisi kebab, right? Of course, referring to Majlis. That was a parliamentarian clue. Tough luck for Ananya, but nonetheless, we move to Delhi Brainiacs for their direct.
All right, the Brainiacs. In her book, Ground the Expectations, Karen Blumenthal, a Wall Street Journal veteran, reports that round tables are more welcoming than those with square edges, and people look less alone while seated at a round table. Which brand is the subject of this book?
Is this Starbucks?
He has Starbucks as a guess.
So grande expectations and coffee tables.
Simple, basic 1+1 quizzing. Excellent answer there, Shobana. Starbucks. And he caught on to the right clues in the question.
So glad he opens his account finally. That was indeed Starbucks. Well, luck of the draw. Moving to Toyat Patnaik's direct question for the Wizards. Let's take a look at question number 5.
All right, a chance to get off the mark. Which consumables made almost entirely from sugar are proudly advertised as sugar-free, as a product with less than 0.5 grams of sugar is deemed so as per the USDA guidelines? Very interesting bit of trivia over here.
Tic Tacs.
He says Tic Tacs. What a fantastic answer. He did the calculation. He imagined the size. He reached into his memory or somewhere among his taste buds and he pulled out Tic Tac. Fantastic answer. He's off the mark. And we move to the last question. This for the erudites. In 675 CE, Emperor Tenmu issued the first official decree regarding something that was finally repealed by another emperor around 1200 years later to ring in the new year in 1872. This ironically led to Buddhist monks getting involved in a violent fight with the guards while breaking into the imperial palace a month later. What was all the fuss about? So you got hints as to the timeline, huge hints as to the country. There's an emperor, Buddhist monks, the imperial palace.
Okay. So I want to say that they were the Buddhist monks had to eat something non-veg.
He says the Buddhist monks had to eat something non-veg. That's the wrong answer. It passes to the intellects.
I'll go the other way around. I think this was a meat ban. So like you're not allowed to eat meat.
He's flipped the answer.
So I mean, this was something they were not allowed to eat meat. If you're looking for a specific, I would go beef because that's in vogue right now. But my generic answer would be that this was a meat ban. They're not allowed to eat meat by law. 1872 should be.
He's trying to connect all the dots together.
Yeah, I think this was like England decided to attack China and all that thing was happening around then. So maybe because of that, this ended.
It says England attacking China, meat ban. Well, his answer at 4 is correct. There was a ban on consuming animals. Unfortunately, Shomana, he got the country and the reason wrong. Tell us more about that. Japan, of course, the Meiji Restoration of 1868. 4 years later came the ban on consuming animals. All right.
And this is exactly why fish became so popular in Japan. We come to the end of 2 rounds. Let's take a look at the scores. We are halfway through. We have 2 more rounds to go. But before that, scores.
All right. Everybody's off the mark. You've got the geeks and the erudites on 50. You've got the brainiacs and the wizards on 100. You've got the Bengaluru aces on 150. And in the lead right now, the Ahmedabad intellects with 400 points. We're at the halfway mark, which means it's time for a strategic timeout. The teams take a couple of minutes to grab a drink of water. But unfortunately, 2 minutes doesn't allow much more, though it's a food quiz. They'll just probably have to make do with water for today. You do the same, and we'll see you in 2 minutes with round 3 and the second half of the food and beverages quiz. See you soon. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're ready for the second half of the quiz. Round 3 is upon us. Shabanai, let's go. What are the rules?
Yes, so round 3 is don't shoot the messenger. 6 two-tier questions. This is a visual-based round. 1 direct for each team. Direct plus 200, but if they go for a clue, they get a plus 100, and for pass, it's a flat 100 points. All right, the double cards make its appearance once again. Let's see if teams can lap up the double cards and make good use of that. Okay, it's time to meet our celebrity QM for this episode. Dhruv, please do the honors.
All right, the celebrity QM, of course, will be very, very familiar to those from Kolkata, though, of course, he is a well-known name beyond the city. This is Chef Sean Kenworthy. celebrated British chef, restaurateur, F&B consultant, food and travel writer, and of course, an absolute authority on all sorts of cuisines and different ways of making the same dishes. So we're going to have 6 mouth-watering questions on food. Let's not waste anyone's time and go straight to torturing the 6 contestants with these 6 delicious questions. All right, the home team, the Kolkata Wizards, have chosen that the order reverse. So we start now with the first question going to the Chennai erudites. Here on your screen.
Okay, so question 1. Which unreserved chef who travelled around the world and fed on unknown parts without any layovers co-wrote this graphic novel?
Which unreserved chef who traveled around the world and fed on unknown parts without any layovers co-wrote this graphic novel?
I will go for a clue.
He's chosen to go for a clue. So for 100 points, he fearlessly sampled out their dishes with locals, President Obama, and everyone in between until his sudden mysterious death.
Yeah, Shanchi.
Shang-Chi is the wrong answer. It passes to the
Yeah,
Wizards.
so I would use my first double card. And Anthony Bourdain.
Where would we be without a Kolkata Wizards double? I was waiting for that, and here it is finally. Superb. 200 points. This was Anthony Bourdain. Of course, reserved, unreserved was the clue. All right, now direct for the Wizards on screen now.
This Google Doodle from 2012 celebrates the national dish of which nation?
Okay, this Google Doodle from 2012 celebrates the National Day of which nation?
I would use my double card and say Belgium.
All right, he's going to use his double card again. Why are we surprised? Belgium, of course, the Belgium flag there, waffles, everything. Oh, Shravan, there's something about the Wizards and their doubles, huh?
Tell me more about it. Constant feature about ProQuizzin League Battle of the Youth. But nonetheless, for now, we move to the third question of the quiz.
Identify this Delhiite, seen here with his wife.
All right, a photograph of 2 people. So identify this Delhiite seen here with his.
So this is the guy who became famous recently for Baba Ka Dhaba.
Well, we have always wanted a name here.
It's lovely how
I'll go for the clue.
it's lovely how these questions are actually going to the appropriate cities. The Delhi question to the Delhiite. He's gone for a second clue. The octogenarian rose to fame in 2020 after a video of his teary-eyed appeal to the public went viral. Well, he's actually technically answered already. So I don't think the clue can or should be revealed. Well, now that it has been, unfortunately, the brainiacs shouldn't, in the right spirit of the game, answer. So we should pass.
I don't know either. I just know that.
No, yeah, it's absolutely. But
I'll say Baba Allama Khan.
All right, the geeks for 100 points say Baba Allama Khan. It passes on to the aces.
And I'll say something like Manoj.
He says Manoj.
In-
Shots.
Again, random name, Baba Shahid.
And the intellects say Baba Shahid. What do the erudites say?
No idea. Pass.
They pass. It goes to the Wizards.
Santosh Baba or something. Santosh.
Santosh Baba, perhaps inspired by Santoshi Ma. All wrong. Ankur, of course, had the right zone. He had the right idea. This is, of course, Kanta Prasad. A little bit more about him, Shawan.
Yes, of course, he was the famous owner of Baba Ka Dhaba, as pointed out by Ankur. But well, he missed the name, and throughout the quiz, throughout the league, we've always wanted for the name because it would be unfair for the other teams had they known it. So we move to the fourth question for Ananya, representing Mumbai Gates.
Which Kerala staple, seen here, did Delhi-born Dipinder Chibbar cook, amongst other dishes, at MasterChef Australia?
All right. Which Kerala staple seen here did Delhi born Dipinder Chibber cook among other dishes at MasterChef Australia?
It was all over the internet.
Natukottai prawns.
Natukottai prawns, she says. Incorrect. Passes to Piyush Kedia and the Aces.
Appalaraya.
Also wrong. Passes to the Intellects.
I remember someone doing this. Is this upma?
Not upma either. It passes to the Erudites now.
This chettinad chicken.
It's not chettinad chicken. Nobody's taken the second clue. It's still worth 100 points.
Malabari prawns.
Malabari prawns is wrong. And Ankur Ghosh.
It's the
He's not sure. So this passes out. None of the teams managed to get this answer either. So let's take a look at the answer here, Shamanai. This is Meen Moily. Meen, I believe, would be fish, Shamanai.
Yes, that was a clue, but I think people kind of saw that, these had fish and they were on the fish track, but this was, of course, Meen Moily.
All right, question 5 now for the Aces.
This fruit, also known as bhirand in the local language, is used in summer beverages and as a souring agent in curries. By what name? Popularized by a rapping Shah Rukh Khan in a 2000 movie. Do we know it better?
I'll take a clue.
All right, Piyush takes a clue for 100 points now. A native of the Konkan region, it belongs to the mangosteen family, and it is an absolutely delicious element. Piyush doesn't look confident.
I'll say Avla.
He says Amla. Now it passes to the Intellects.
I'll guess this is kokum.
And he's made my mouth salivate with this answer. This is, of course, kokum. Used to make the delicious pink soul curry, an absolute delight in the summer months. Oh, all right. Now we've got a video clue coming up for the next question, for the Intellects.
Okay, Grant.
Okay, so not so obviously F&B related, but what happens just a couple of seconds before this?
All right, we've seen the video, and the question is, what had happened a couple of seconds right before this?
Can I see the video again? This one.
This is a direct for the Intellects worth 200 points. We await an answer from Abhimanyu.
Just because I see Heineken, so this is related to all the controversy of players removing bottles of Coke and Heineken from these dais in the UEFA press conferences.
That's a bit too general an answer. We need something more.
Yeah, I'm going to guess this is Ronaldo removing that Coca-Cola bottle, saying agua, drink water and things.
So his guess is Ronaldo removing the Coke bottle. That is the wrong answer, which means we now move for 100 points to the erudites.
Okay, so what he did was he said that he brought one Coca-Cola bottle, placed it there, and he said that sponsor me. I am like brand ambassador, everything like this.
So I would say this was, I think, Arnautovic before him took the press conference, and he told, "Hey, Coca-Cola, please sponsor me."
It passes again now for 100 points to the Brainiacs.
So this player also removed the Coke bottle from the purview of the camera, so outside the field of view of the camera.
Yeah.
Well, he's right. This is Manuel Locatelli, and he did a Ronaldo. That's why I think, Shamana, we waited so long for a correct and specific answer. Didn't come from the intellects.
I just have a point. I said that he was Locatelli. I said that the Coke bottle was removed. Yet you asked me for a clarification. That's the only.
These problems will keep popping up in online quizzes. Issues with sound, with freezing, with glitches. It's just part of the game, I guess, Shaman. As long as we're quizzing from home, but we have to do as the Romans do.
Yet with that, we come to the end of 3 rounds. With 1 round to go, let's take a look at the score.
All right, on the back of 2 consecutive big doubles, the Kolkata Wizards, the home team, storm into the lead with 700. The Intellects on 500. You've got the Brainiacs on 200, the Aces on 150, and the Geeks and Erudites still at 50 apiece. All right. It's getting a little more competitive now, and it's going to get even more so because we're back to differential scoring for the last round, Shaman. This is, of course, the final frontier.
The last and final round, of course, the final frontier. 6 questions anti-clockwise, a repeat of round 2, but with some visual connects this time. A direct question will fetch you plus 100. Per pass, it's plus 100, plus 15 to number of passes. So potentially, a team can rake in a 350 points if a question passes. All right, let's take a look at the first question, but this will be for the Chennai Erudites on the screen now.
All right, we're going anti-clockwise now. So the first question is with the Erudites, an alumna of Miranda House who taught Westerners to love Indian cookery, connected by these 3 visuals. We've once again come up against that keyword alumna. It was there in the first quiz, I remember, Shaman Rai. Let's see if teams can latch onto it.
Sanjeev Kapoor.
Well, he hasn't latched onto it. He says Sanjeev Kapoor. So it passes now to the Wizards.
Vikas Khanna.
Vikas Khanna, no. Passes to the Brainiacs.
Tarla Dalal.
He says Tarla Dalal. That's a better guess, but incorrect. The Geeks.
Tarla Dalal was also my answer. I'll pass.
It passes to the Aces now. 300.
I guess Prem Desai.
Not Prem Desai. 350 points for the Intellects.
I'll pass. Sorry, no clue.
Well, there's a big visual clue over there for fans of House of Cards, Shaman. Let's take a look at the answer.
The answer, of course, was Madhur Jaffrey, one of the first celebrity chefs that we had from our country. And let's take a look at how the 4 images, or rather the 3 images plus the textual clue connect. Yes, that was Shakespeare Wala. That was Climbing the Mango Trees, her memoir. And there is Sahina Jaffrey, her daughter. Okay. So a bit of a toughie, maybe for this generation, but nonetheless, we take a look at the Wizards' direct question. For 100 points, the other teams are breathing us high already. They know it is the luck of the draw.
Salt Bay, right? Salt Bay, Nusrat Gupte. So he had a dining table like empty for the entire year for the memory of Maradona. Nusrat Gupte is his name. He also, I think, somebody is parodying him on SNL.
And barely got time to read the question there, and he snapped it up, Toyada. He's just wishing he could have doubled on that. Unfortunately, there's no doubling this round, Shaman. Salt Bay, of course, he did all the explanations, so there's really nothing to explain. We move now to the Brainiacs for 100 points for their direct, the longest running of its kind with a span of 17 years connected by these 3. This right from my childhood and nostalgia, Shaman.
Longest running celebrity chef cooking show.
Well, Anku trying to help others, it seems. We need a little more specific than that.
Pass.
Passes to the Geeks.
I'll say this is Sanjeev Kapoor's show.
Hmm. And then you're helping just a little bit more.
I'll say Khana Khazana.
200 points were on offer, and Piyush Kedia doesn't miss them. Khana Khazana, indeed. The Z logo that I grew up on, Shamanai, right there.
That was Harpal Singh Sokhi. The first episode was actually hosted by him and not Sanjeev Kapoor. That was, of course, Hansal Mehta, the director of Khana Khazana for quite a long time. And of course, it's like a well-cooked meal, So Ankur added an ingredient, Ananya added an ingredient, and Piyush finally cooked it and ate it up. All right. Mumbai Geeks, let's take a look at their direct question now.
She wouldn't want to let go of these 100 points. It's precious. Home to the world's largest Hispanophone population. Piyush throws his hands up.
So I'll say this is like you want a country, right? Yeah, so this is Mexico. Yeah, burritos, tacos, and guacamole.
Stunned expressions on the faces of the others. They can't believe it was this simple. Mexico, that's the luck of the draw. You get some quick bites and you get some heavy meals. Ananya got a nice, easy one there. Okay, 2 questions to go. Let's take a look at the scorecard. The Wizards right now with 800 points, and I believe they've done everything to seal their 6 points for the episode Shamanai. But there's still a bit of, there's still some scope for changes in scores among the other teams. Remains to be seen how the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th places play out. 2 questions to go. The Wizards sitting pretty. It's down to the Aces and the Intellects with their directs. Let's take a look at question 5 for Piyush Kedia and the Bengaluru Aces. A gourmet monarch whose kheer was cooled in the moonbeams at night connects to these 3.
Wajid Ali Shah. So he put the aloo in the biryani. I'm assuming the Kolkata pan was made by him. And is that Zakaria Street? I'm not sure. But yeah, maybe he must have some contribution to it.
He needs this 100 points to stay in the run for 2nd place, and he gets them. Moves to 450 points with Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. That, of course, being the representation of him by Amjad Khan. Shamana, let's take a look at the answer.
Yes, he was famously added the potato in biryani, the all-important aloo in Kolkata biryani. That was galoti kebab, which was also devised by a chef because he couldn't, he had pan-stained teeth and couldn't really eat something which had bones in it. All right, he needed something soft. With that, we come to the end of 5 questions. The last and final question, direct to Abhimanyu Bharade and the Ahmedabad Intellects.
An entity renowned for their mastery of logistics. A chance to seal the 2nd spot for the Intellects.
I'll say the Rath Yatra organizers.
He says it's the Rath Yatra organizers. It's wrong. I think he's missed a crucial.
Puri.
Puri is wrong. All right, 150 points. Erudites. It's getting interesting now. The points are building. A lot of tension for the Intellects because. All right, the Kolkata Wizards.
Dabbawala, so that is Lunchbox. Prince Charles visited them, and that is their deity.
And the Kolkata Wizards show why they're in champion form today. This is, of course, the Dabbawalas from Onai. All important clues missed there by Abhimanyu. He'll be kicking himself.
Yeah, literally quite an easy question, but nonetheless happens to the best of us on days which are not ours. We'll take a look at the explanations nonetheless. So you had Vithal temple there in the first image. The Dabbawals go and offer their puja. After taking 1-day holiday here, that is of course the lunch box. You had Prince Charles there who came and met with the Dabbawalas. Lunchbox was probably a giveaway clue, and there is a coding system for the Dabbawalas. They are so appropriate; they never miss a delivery ever. So with that, we come to the end of the delicious food and beverage quiz, the final scores group. Let's take a look at what the standings are at the end of this quiz.
All right, the erudites stay on 50 points, the geeks are on 150, the brainiacs are on 200, the aces made an attempt for it at the end, but they stay at 450. The intellects missing an important clue, but it didn't really cost them their 2nd place. They're at 500. And once again, we see the 1,000-pointer, this time from the home team, the Kolkata Wizards. Brilliant use of their double cards and a fantastic answer to seal the quiz at the end. gets them to exactly a round figure of 1,000 points. All right, now this means we've got 6 different points to be taken away by the teams today. Samana, let's take a look at the points tally for today's quiz, quiz 9.
Yeah, after quiz 9, we have Ahmedabad Intellects on 5. They came second. Bengaluru Aces on 4, very close behind though, but 4 points nonetheless. Chennai Erudites on 1. Delhi Brainiacs on 3. Kolkata Wizards win the quiz very, very handsomely. Even, say, for, I don't know, if without the double cards, maybe they would have been very, very close to victory anyway. But they finish on 6, and Mumbai Kicks finish on 2. All right, at the end of match 9, we will take a look at the league standings as it is.
Okay, we predicted that things could change, and indeed that's what's happened, because you've got now the Kolkata Wizards and the Bengaluru Aces tied for 39 points at the top. However, the Wizards are on top because of their total score, 5,200 versus 4,850 for the Aces. All right, you've got 3 teams on 30 after that, the Geeks, the Intellects and the Brainiacs, and the Erudites not far behind on 27. This means we are in for a breathtaking final quarter of the ProQuizzin League Battle of the Youth. 3 quizzes to go, and in these 3 quizzes we're going to see what's going to happen to the middle of this table. On the top of the table, it's going to get completely ballistic. Shamunai and I, Dhruv Mukherjee, will be back with the next quiz, which is going to be the quiz on sports and games. So we'll see you for the 10th quiz of the Battle of the Youth. Until then, take care everyone, stay safe, see you soon.